That's gonna hurt. Oh, hi, and welcome back to the Music Snob,
Oh my god!
where I know music, unless it sucks. Uh, Make your own comment about my guitar playing. I just want to. I used to do. If you've been to the channel before, I used to do profiles on musicians before I was monetized. And I would play some of the songs and talk about how great the songs were. And I can't do that anymore because now I'm apparently monetized, even though I don't really make much. But a few weeks ago I started doing kind of a thing where I want to talk about certain bands have great artwork, certain bands don't, but certain bands have great artwork. I did think about Journey, great artwork for most of their albums. There's a few stinkers, but there's a lot of really, really, really great album covers. And then I suggested a yellow, so I did a yellow, and they had a number of great covers, and they had a lot of compilation ones that are. But somebody else mentioned Boston. Now I only know a couple of Boston albums. I didn't realize they're still sort of going, even though the singer had passed nearly 20 years ago. So somebody mentioned Boston, and here we are. So I'm doing one on Boston. So that's why the crappy opening. And, if you've clicked on this, probably because you like Boston as well, and you want to know what some jackass thinks of the album covers. And that's me. So if this is really all you know about Boston, or then, you need to do is get yourself some chowder, maybe a Wahlburger, and yeah, we'll go on a musical journey or an art journey, and we're going to talk about Boston and their great album covers on today's Music Snob. Boston, founded in Boston, Massachusetts, 1975. Did you know these guys have sold 75 million albums? Their debut sold 17. It's well over 20 by now. It was founded by Tom Scholz. Is that how you say Tom Scholz? I hope I pronounced it right. Basically, it was Tom Scholz. But yeah, there's other guys. I'm not going to go through all the band members, but it's more or less, it was one of those things where, yeah, it's a guy who was, he's recording crap in his basement, and he was the guy who came up with everything, wrote the song. But he hired a number of people, and he got a guy named Brad Delp to do the lead vocals. But Tom did most of it. So, we're going to talk about what Tom has come up with. Tom Scholz started writing music in 1969. I was born that year. Should I have said that? While attending MIT. Now, I've heard the term MIT many times, but when I read this, Massachusetts Institute of Technology, somehow I didn't clear that in. Massachusetts Institute of Technology. After graduating with a master's degree in mechanical engineering. This guy's a genius. He worked for Polaroid. Remember Polaroid? I don't I swear the other night I saw a Polaroid plugged into the wall. Are they making those things again? Are they rechargeable USBs now? He used the salary when you could do that to build himself a studio in his basement. And he started doing demos, and he was sending out to the record company weasels, and everybody, no, 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 no. And by the way, no. So after doing a bunch of demos, he did More Than a Feeling. He had written Foreplay in when he was in university, I think. Every record company they sent it to said no. But Scholz, he kept doing demos, and he got other guys to help him with the demos. Eventually, did you know he designed his own pedals for the guitar, and he had done, it was called the Rock Band. Now, a guy had mentioned this in one of my older videos where I played 10 easy licks of Def Leppard, and a guy was like, "Hey, you're using a Rock Band?" I didn't know what that was, and he had explained it to me, and I'm like, oh wow, that is pretty cool. And this is the guy, and you think I would have done the video back then? Genius. The last demo they did, a couple guys, Paul Ahern and Charlie McKenzie, heard them, and they signed them. They got them signed. They got them a deal with Epic, which was it was Epic, man. Epic Records. The label wanted them to re-record all of the demos because here's the thing, they did like a showcase in front of the record company Weasels, and somehow they could tell that this was like, you know, a recording genius in his basement, and they didn't want that. So they got him to fire the drummer he was using. He got a different guy, big thing, and he knew record company Weasels were gonna just ruin what he had come up with. So he came up with a plan. He sent all the musicians to LA, and they appeased the record company Weasels. Well, he actually went back to his home studio and redid all the master tapes, and then he brought it out to LA, and they didn't know the difference. 1976, Boston. It's a good title. Boston, 17 million in the U.S. alone. It sold over 20 million worldwide. It was the best-selling album or best-selling debut album in history until GNR came out, and Appetite for Destruction blew it out of the sky. I'm not going to mention every member who played on every album. Basically, it's Tom Scholz and Brad Delp that were the two guys who really the only two you're really going to remember. There's so many other members. Again, it's like trying to list off the Foreigner members over the years. So basically, it was more or less Tom Scholz playing most of it, and somebody else doing drums, and Brad Delp doing the vocals. They had 3 singles: "More Than a Feeling," sorry, "Long Time," and "Peace of Mind." Album cover was a concept by Tom Scholz of a spaceship guitar. That's God, you know, seriously, let's just look at this thing. That is a great album cover. I didn't know until I was doing this video that's a guitar. I just thought it was a spaceship, and I saw Boston. There's like a city on the top of it, and what are they? They're shooting space happiness out the bottom. Not sure. Tom Scholz came up with it. It was a spaceship guitar, but it was illustrated by a guy named Roger Huyson. Now, if you like this album cover, I'll tell you what. Go to Roger, or well, I guess it's Huyson, HUYSSEN.com, and look at what this guy has done over the years. He's got album covers, pharmaceutical, movie, and entertainment. This guy, oh man, I should just, I'm gonna put a couple things right here. Look at that. Lettering by Gerald Huerta. No one expected this album to be as big as it was. Tom Scholz was actually still working at Polaroid when the album was gold. But let's just talk about that album cover just for a second. I want to look at that again for a second. Here's the problem. There's only 4 strings on that thing, so it's a bass. It's not even a guitar. I thought it was a guitar. But yeah, whatever. Who cares? Nobody cares. But yeah, that to me is cool. I'm guessing it's Boston on the top of it, and well, it says Boston on the thing. And then it's it's a spaceship that looks like a guitar. You know, it looks like an Ovation guitar, kind of, except space. I can't tell what the other ones are. They all got like 4 things. And then I don't know if they're blowing the earth up because it's More Than a Feeling, and it's a long time. Blowing this shit up. Okay, 1978, Don't Look Back, which was only 2 years later. It was number 4 on Billboard. Of course, 3 singles: Don't Look Back, A Man I'll Never Be, and Feeling Satisfied, or Satisfied, depending on your point of view. 7 million copies in the U.S. Of course, every day you hear Don't Look Back on your old guy radio. The cover art by a guy named Gary Norman. Now, again, Gary Norman. Now, this guy, here's what we want to talk about. Okay, now, look at this album cover. That's cool. Yeah, the guitar spaceship thing, and it's good. I guess 4 strings and the little hole, and this guy also did video game illustrations. So right here we got what is it, Sky Attack, I believe. Sky Attack, which I think was a handheld game. But he also, if are you an old guy? Do you remember Atari? Do you remember this game? This guy also did that. Oh, come on, that's Space Invaders for Atari. Now, people over the years, I didn't until I was looking at this last night at 3 in the morning before I made this thing. I didn't know this was a thing. But this guy, Gary Norman, look him up on. He's got a website too, I think. The art. No, Gary Norman cover art. Just go to his. He's on Instagram. He's on all this stuff. Great album cover. Look at that. Oh, this is a great one. Oh, I don't even know what that one is. I think that one's for sale. That's cool. Looks like another spaceship and a guitar spaceship and spaceships. Look these guys up. Now, before when I was doing these things, like I did Journey and I did ELO, I didn't really know who the hell was doing a lot of them. But I'm looking into this guy. Well, the other guy, first of all, great stuff. Look at his album. Look at his page. And this guy, I'm just looking at stuff on Instagram, and the fact that I just found out that he was the guy who did the Atari Space Invaders, which looks similar. What do you care? I hope there's no lawsuits because it's pretty cool. 1986. Now this took 8 years. 8 years. Now you know what? I'm sure I heard. I was young. I'm sure I heard Boston before, but when Amanda came out, and I like, holy crap, this is great. That was when I learned about how great this band was. I didn't know it was a guy basically in his basement, more or less. You know, like the Foo Fighters. Even though it's grown into a band, it was the brainchild of Dave Grohl. It was that. Boston, no matter how you want to look at it, it's Tom Scholz. And Brad Delp is the guy. He didn't come up with everything. Third Stage, released on MCA because there was a lawsuit. Now, I don't know all the particulars against Epic. And all I know is all record company weasels are crap. They're weasels. And they suck. So it took them, basically 8 years to make this album. Number one, Amanda was number one. 4 singles, We're Ready, Can't You Say You Believe in Me, Holly Ann. So they got 2 girl songs in the thing. 4 million in the US. It was the first CD. Now, you kids, I'm just going to talk to the kids for a second. Kids, hey kids, you don't know what physical media is. Maybe you know what a record is, but you don't know. Now, I like to have, I don't have it right now. I got nothing in front of me. When I was a kid, I had cassettes. We had 8 tracks. My mom had 8 tracks. I know we had cassettes. We had albums. CDs came out in the mid 80s. This was the first CD to go gold, to sell gold. So it was just starting to catch on. Number one on Billboard. First album to use, I didn't even mention that before. It was the first album that he used the Rock Band. Now, I was talking about him making his own pedals before. This is the first one he used the Rock Band on, which if you're the guy who mentioned that on the Def Leppard thing, hey, how you doing? I didn't know what that was. And at this point, I was trying to find one. Even if a ton of people start watching this and I'm making money, I can't get one. It's impossible to get a Rock Band. Cover art by John Salazzo from Boston. Now, I should have said this before. The Hyson, the guy who did the first one, HUYSSEN.com. I think I did mention that. Go to that, look at his link, look at his artwork, buy stuff. The other guy, did Don't Look Back, and also did Space Invaders. Look him up. I couldn't find an actual website with his name. But this guy, Third Stage, cover art by John Salazzo, a guy from Boston. JohnSalazzoArt.com. JohnSalazzoArt.com, and just check out some of his stuff, because another incredible artist that I didn't know about until, like 10 minutes ago. 1994, Walk On. Now, okay, 8 years later, they had a different vocalist. His name was Fran Cosmo. Brad Delp had left the band. I guess he quit the band in 81, but he promised to finish the Third Stage album. And then he started another band with a guy, one of the, I think, former drummer, and they call it RTZ. I don't know, like Ritz. This album is by Michael Bryan. Cover illustration is by Michael Bryan. Now look up, I didn't find anything about Michael Bryan. 1 million copies on this album. And it's, at this point, Boston has become like a tribute to Boston, I guess. Is it really Boston anymore? You want to hear that guy, he had the big hair. You want to hear him singing. It's not really Boston anymore. It's cool that they're still putting stuff out, but once Brad left, it's not really Boston. 1997, greatest hits, and again, did I even talk about these albums? Let me go back. I'm stuck at this. I'm terrible. Um, okay, so the first album I made fun of. Don't Look Back. It's it's Spaceship, and I think I did talk about that. Third Stage. It looks actually like I didn't talk about this. I'm sorry. Third Stage looks like you ever see the Black Hole Disney movie? It kind of looks like that thing, but I guess it's coming to Earth. Now I've talked about it. Now Walk On, which I didn't say anything about, with what was that? Who different vocals? Frank Cosmo. That's where I am now. I'm terrible at this. It looks well. Maybe the Boston guitar is breaking out of a mountain, or maybe it's crashing. Pretty cool though. 1997 greatest hits, 2 million copies, and well, there's your. I got not much to say about this. There's a spaceship guitar, and there's some, I guess, I'm assuming, ladies holding up the greatest hits thing. That's a cool cover. They had some really good covers, but did they have any new songs? I don't think so. Yeah, 5 years later than that, which is again a few years. What, like another 8 years? Corporate America, 2002, 8 years. They had 5 different vocalists on this album. Now, this is first album to feature Anton Cosmo and Kimberly Dom. Last album it was the last album Brad Delp was alive, but he did not work on this one, but he did later, posthumously. What can I say about this? 8 years, 5 vocalists, covered by Daryl Hirschler. Now, I couldn't find out much about Daryl Hirschler either. That's a lot, but let's talk about this cover. Cover has the spaceship guitar. Now, I think it looks like an ovation, and I guess it's flying over Earth, and there's halos in space. I don't know what that has to do with corporate America, but it's a cool album cover. 2013, Life, Love, and Hope. It was actually their 6th album. It had been 11 years between this and the last album. Brad Delp was featured posthumously on several songs that, even though he had died 6 years before this came out. But again, several vocalists. For some reason, there's a cover of "Oh Canada" on this. I haven't heard it. Not a big seller. Let's talk about the cover. I couldn't find out who this one. But there's your Boston guitar, and this one, it looks like it could have a few more strings on it. And it's flying into a dust storm. Okay, so this is going to be a lot shorter, I bet, than the ELO one, because they only had the one compilation, but they had every album cover was interesting. They didn't have anything where it's just a cover of somebody's face or a donkey kicking up dust. So the first one, you got your, and again, they have the same they didn't take 3-4 albums before they found a great logo. But this one, you get the first album, good. The second album is pretty good, and then Third Stage is different. But like, am I stupid? I don't see the guitar. Is that? Yeah. Well, I guess it could be a Steinberger. But then looks like it's crashing. The best album cover, it's gotta be, you know what, I'm gonna go with Corporate America, actually. You know what, just because it's just this, it should have the Boston on it, but you don't see it. You see it's coming towards you the other direction instead of leaving. Boston, Tom Scholz. For all you know, he's probably putting out another album. I don't know. I hope so. It's too bad that Brad Delp is no longer with us. And Boston was, it's right out of the gate, humongous. They sold like 75 million albums. Unmistakable voice, unmistakable sound, and all really the brainchild of one guy. Too bad Tom couldn't sing with the crap, apparently. Second album, the same thing. Third album, even though it took a while to do it, it was great. But after that, Might as well just stop. But look up these artists. What are their names again? Roger Hyson is one of the better ones, and Gary Norman and John Salazzo are the top ones, I would say. Look up those guys because they're still going. They're still putting out some great art that is interesting, and that's what this particular thing is all about. So, anyways, if you made it this far, I'm stunned. Um, Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like if you like, and if you really like, subscribe, and as always, share. If you'd like to share it with Cher, that'd be great. If you'd like to share it with Tom Scholz, I'm sure he'd be like, "Yeah, okay, I'll watch that." Probably not. And as always, if you have somebody you want me to do one of these on, like I have a list, and there's a lot of really good ones, and there's a lot of really crappy ones, and I'm not going to do those ones. But if you have somebody you think I should talk about their album covers, leave a comment. If you want to say my hair looks stupid, leave a comment. Just do me a favor. Don't be a dick. And thanks for watching the Music Snob, where I know music, but not really album covers.